When it comes to your marketing budget, 2026 is the year that guessing stops working. Most insurance agents don't avoid marketing, they just simply avoid committing to it. They test, they dabble, they pull back when things feel uncertain, and for a long time that worked well enough, but this year and moving forward, it's not going to. Costs are higher, competition is sharper, and search behavior is changing fast, especially with AI influencing how consumers discover and evaluate local insurance providers. And at the same time, direct carriers and well-funded agencies are not pulling back, they're building systems. So the question is no longer, can I afford to market? The real question is, what does it cost to grow on purpose in this environment? Now, before we move on, here's some things I want you to really pay attention to. Before we get tactical, these principles matter more than any channel or platform. Most insurance agencies that want stable, controllable growth this year and beyond should expect to invest 8 to 15% of their gross revenue into digital marketing. That investment isn't about buying leads. It's about building a repeatable system. Visibility, conversion, follow-up, and retention all working together. A system. Underfunded marketing doesn't actually save you money, it introduces volatility, and volatility is actually more expensive than most agents realize. And the agencies that win this year and moving forward actually won't be the most aggressive, they'll be the ones that are the most consistent. So here's the short answer that most agents want when it comes to what should my budget be. And I'm just going to give you some realistic budgeting for this year and looking ahead based on what we see that works across the country. And I'm going to break this down by agency type. So for an independent property and casualty agent, typical percentage of gross revenue is 10 to 15%. For a captive property and casualty agent, it's about 8 to 12%. If you're a Medicare agent, you're going to be looking at about 12 to 18%. A life insurance agent, about 10 to 16%. These aren't ideal numbers, these are actual functional numbers. And so agencies that are operating below these ranges often are going to experience uneven lead flow and then reactive decision making. Agencies that operate within these ranges tend to experience something more valuable than volume. That's just predictability, knowing where they're going to be month after month. And this is something important. 2024 and 2025 budgets break in 2026. And if you are budgeting the same way you did based on what worked in years past, that's understandable, but it's also risky. And here's some of the reasons for that. Because paid media is less forgiving. Weak structure burns money faster than ever because AI-driven search reduces organic clicks. In fact, statistics are telling us at the end of 2025 that from the middle of 2024 to the end of 2025, organic clicks were down 61% and paid traffic clicks were down 68%, which puts more pressure on both paid traffic and brand authority. And consumers are now taking longer to decide, which means follow-up and nurturing now determine ROI more than the initial lead itself. So what's changed isn't that marketing stopped working, it's that single channel and under-resourced strategies stopped surviving. And so a smart 2026 marketing budget is going to be allocated a little differently. High-performing agencies are no longer thinking in terms of tactics. They're actually thinking in terms of functions. And so while the percentages may vary, most healthy budgets are going to follow a pattern very similar to what I'm going to describe to you here. Paid media will typically consume the largest share of that budget, often 40 to 60%, because this is where active demand is captured through Google ads, local service ads if they are available in your area, and paid social media ads for remarketing and awareness. It's powerful, but it's also the fastest place for you to lose money if you don't have the right support systems in place. Then you have your website and conversion optimization, and that's going to generally take 10 to 20%. This year, your website isn't marketing collateral, it actually needs to be your sales system. So clarity, speed, trust, and ease of action matter more than just aesthetics. And then there's SEO and content investment, and that often falls in that 15 to 25% range. And that's not to replace your paid traffic, but it is to reduce your dependence on it over time. And agencies that stay consistent here tend to see lower acquisition costs 12 to 24 months down the road. So if you'll invest in your SEO over time, you're going to be able to pull back on those paid ad expenses. Then you have your CRM, automation, and nurture systems, and that's going to be another 5 to 10%. And this is where ROI is either realized or it's quietly wasted. So speed to lead, consistent follow-up, and long-term nurturing will determine whether marketing dollars turn into policies or frustration. And so that's where your breakdown is going to take place. It's not really complex, it's just balanced. And here's why your budgeting is going to look a little different by agent type. I gave you some breakdowns of ranges, and you need to remember that an independent P&C agent typically needs the broadest coverage because they're dealing with multiple carriers, multiple niches, and intense local competition that requires more diversification. And so if their budget is too lean, their lead flow gets fragile. A captive agent has the benefit of national brand awareness, but brand alone doesn't convert. They need local visibility and strong conversion paths, plus disciplined follow-up, and they've got to be able to distinguish themselves from other agents operating under that same brand umbrella. And they're going to see the best return on their marketing dollars when they focus on that local visibility, strong conversion path, and disciplined follow-up. Medicare agents operate under seasonality and compliance pressure. So strong budgeting here means planning ahead, front-loading strategically, then relying on automation and authority to carry momentum outside of the annual enrollment period. And then life insurance agents are going to face longer decision cycles. So education, credibility, and persistence matter more than immediacy. And underfunding content and follow-up are common reasons that life insurance agents struggle to see a positive return on investment. Now, the cost that agents rarely plan for, but always end up paying, is that they have the wrong strategy in place. They fail because the budget ignored reality. And this reality that you have to consider is creative fatigue. Platforms require learning periods. Tracking and reporting need maintenance, and compliance reviews take time. And do-it-yourself mistakes quietly cost more than most agents expect. So you've got to keep all of these things in mind. Most marketing plans are not failing because the strategy was wrong. They fail because the budget ignored the realities of the business. That creative fatigue is real, that the platforms do require learning periods, that tracking and reporting do need maintenance, that those compliance reviews are going to take some time, and that doing it yourself can create a lot of cost and headache. So responsible budgeting accounts for those realities up front instead of reacting to them later. So we plan ahead. Let me give you a real example. This is a hypothetical, but it's realistic, of $1 million independent property and casualty agency, just so you can get your mind around the concept. So $1 million independent P&C agency is targeting steady growth, and they may invest around $10,000 to $12,000 per month in digital marketing. So that would look like $5,000 to $6,500 in paid media, about $2,000 to $3,000 in SEO and content, about $1,000 to $1,500 in website and conversion rate optimization, and about $750 to $1,000 in CRM and automation. Nothing extravagant, nothing trendy, just enough structure to take chaos out of the equation and create consistency. Now, that kind of budget doesn't guarantee success, but it dramatically improves decision making. It covers all of the bases of the ecosystem, and good decisions start to compound. Now, here are some final thoughts. Marketing is infrastructure now. So this year and beyond, marketing is not about chasing leads. It's about building leverage. Agencies that treat marketing as infrastructure gain control over growth, and agencies that treat it as an expense stay reactive. Here's the key. You don't have to outspend your competitors, but you do need to outcommit to clarity, consistency, and systems. That's the difference between market dominance and reactivity. If we can help you develop your ecosystem and a strategy to be the dominant agent in your market, reach out to us at Agent Branding and Marketing. We would love to schedule a strategy session with you. You can do that online at agentbrandingandmarketing.com/schedule. We'd love to talk with you. Thanks for tuning in to this episode, and we look forward to having you on our next episode.